Gary Bartlett from East Jordan, Michigan, and this is my 9N Ford. I want to do a little bit of bragging about it. 1939 Ford 9N, and I've had it for quite a few years, so I think I paid $450 for it. When I got it out of this farm, it was up in this barn. The hood was nice shape, but it was somebody hand painted it. It looked terrible. All the tires are flat, and so anyway, I brought it home. The wheels are really extended way out, and so anyway, I got it, and I just started tearing it apart and fixing it. Put all new tires on to begin with, get it rolling around, and I got the motor started up. Then I let it set for a couple years. It was a 2-year project. It just had the regular flathead motor in it. A friend of mine had a Mercury Lynx diesel in his car, and I swapped some things, and I ended up with the motor. So then I took the motor out of the car, and then I took the motor out of the 9N tractor, and did measuring, and this and that, and some things bolted up pretty nice, and some things had to be made. I didn't have to cut the struts and the hood to make it fit in there. So after I decided I wanted to put the diesel motor in, I made the adapter, and the radiator had to be fixed, and everything had to be fixed on it. And so after I got it, I knew the motor was going to fit in there okay. I tore it all apart, and had every piece off the transmission and everything, and I put plywood over the holes, and I took it and had the whole thing sandblasted. So it was right down to bare bones. This fit and that fit, I had to cut and weld this and all that. And now the 9N was the first series out, 9N series. And Ford put some casting in the steering and the whole front end. Okay, starting on the front, I made this little bar around here, had it chromed. Okay, this came original right off the engine. This is the pump, the injector pump, and that fit in there nice and all that. And these struts here, one's a strut and one's a steering. And I didn't have to cut that or do anything to that. Boy, I lucked out there. And the dash, this is all poured die cast, and which makes it nice. And they had to be the right distance from the front to the back, because the hood fits over the cowl, over the dash here. So it took a lot of measuring. Got running boards are all done. I put braces on, they're good and strong. I put a handbrake here. And on the axles here, this is the first year that 9N put solid disc axles in, because it was costing Ford too much money to make them. So the 2N came out they drilled a hole through the middle here, and they riveted in the axle. So if this ever broke, they'd have to put a whole new deal in there. And I polished all these bolts they're just regular steel bolts, and I polished them. So the fenders were, of course, they had a little wear and banging around on them, but so that's basically, well, one of them had costing Ford too much. Some of them had 2 ribs, and this one has got 1. I guess I don't remember which one it was, but anyway, walk around here. There's a throttle. Here's my throttle, which is just like, it's hooked up just like it was on the original when I had the original motor in it. And down here is a foot throttle. I made that. So you want to go faster, you push it down. And another thing I did, these old Fords had a brake on each side. So I made them go on at both the same time, so both wheels would slide at the same time. Before, one wheel would slide and then you'd be digging holes. So in here is the gas tank, fuel oil tank, and the battery. And I forgot to tell you about, when I walked by here, I forgot to tell you about we had to use the computer out of the car, which is right there, is a computer. Yeah, because it's got glow plugs in it, and if they not hooked up to a computer, we started out without, it was just going to turn the key on and make them warm the glow plugs up, and then, well, that didn't work because they all turned blue, and that was $80 worth of deals. So then, you'll see there's up in here there's two relays, so that you turn the key on, and like right here, I turn the key on. I'm going to start it. You turn the key on, and when that goes out, bam, she'll start right now. So I've had it all, the rear end, everything, all the parts. Had put new seals and everything because the brakes, the oil would run out on the brakes, and they came out with new seals for that, so the oil wouldn't run out on the brakes. You had to pack the wheel bearings. The original motor was about, I think, somewhere around 18, 20 horsepower. Now, this is a 4-cylinder diesel engine, and you can see the other side where it shows the air intakes on right here. So, and then the exhaust came right down, was that was good. And now it's got about 75 horsepower. That's a lot of horses to put underneath that hood, 75 of them. The radiator had to be redone. This here, of course, had to go across to pick up the other side of the radiator. And this is redone longer. I put a filter in instead of oil. This don't have oil in, just a filter. Ford thought he was building a car because the gaps and everything were just perfect. These ribs and everything was really looks nice. Good. This had all this stamping out here and all that. The newer ones, the older ones, they screwed it all up. They cut a hole in the side and put a vent in it and all that stuff. Yeah, we've had it Buckley and Flywheelers and Oakley and everybody. One guy says, he waited an hour for me to get back so he could talk about the 9N Ford with the diesel in it. And I said, I didn't know Ford put a diesel in. I said, well, we did. And it was a 2-year project, but it was a lot of fun. And I was retired then, and I played around with it. But now today, it costs so much to fix them up. The paint and the chroming and everything. It's sad that they got to raise everything, so it costs so much. 1939 was the first N series they made. And then they made the 2N, then the 8N. But this one here, they made them pretty good, and then they cheapened them up because it was costing Ford too much money to make them. I mean, they only got one rib. Now these got 2 ribs in it. when I retired when I was 65, I bought one and fixed it up, and then I bought it. Well, I actually have a 2N. No wait, whoa. Yeah, I have a L John Deere, LA John Deere. That was the next one they made. Then I have a M John Deere, next one they made. Then I have one big one, the 620, and then I have the Centaur, which means half man, half horse. And back then, like the L and the L, the guys traded their horses in and got these little tractors because they were one-row cultivators. You could pull a trailer with them, and a lot of things. You could pump water with them because they had a belt on them. You could pump water to fill the watering trough and stuff like that. But that tractor is rare. Here we go. So you turn that on, and that goes out.